Hi everyone, this is Mary Schlueter here, and I put together this recorded Zoom webinar for you based on feedback that you gave. The topic is connection chats, recommendations for regional coaches for when you lead these chats, and the information in it comes from feedback that you gave me. I don't know if you remember, but last spring I sent out an email and asked how your chats went, things that worked, things that didn't work, ideas that you have, and so I compiled that and put that in this webinar. And it also has in it some results from the survey that Annette sent out to the facilitators, not coaches, at the end of last year. And, they shared success stories and they shared obstacles. And I pretty much focused on the obstacles or questions that they had in this webinar so that you could get some ideas of things that people were wondering about as you think about what you want to do for your own connection chats. We're going to do 2 of those, I believe, this year. If you want to do more than that, that's up to you for your region. But we're asking that you do 2 of them, one in the fall semester, one in the spring semester. I would encourage you to do the one in the fall semester in October, and we will do the one in the spring semester in February. So just kind of keep that in mind so that you can touch base with your people and plan for that ahead of time. So the first thing I recommend is that you set an agenda ahead of time. You're going to want to plan with the other coaches in your region so you know very well what you're going to be doing. What you might do is send out a survey with a list of things that they can choose from and maybe have them put them in order of importance, things that they would like to talk about or things that they need to know. And you can send out a survey ahead of time, and then you can base the topics that you choose for your chat on whatever you got back from that survey. I would email the agenda ahead of time to all the people in your regions. It gives them time to know what's going to be talked about and to think about any stories, questions, comments, success stories, anything that they want to share related to those topics. And then you want to make sure that you inform them that there will be question and answer time. You'll be presenting a topic for a bit, but then there will be plenty of time for them to get their questions answered. During the chat, you want to record the Zoom meeting because some people won't come, a lot of people won't come, and you want to be able to send that link out in your follow-up email. Once again, at the beginning, make sure that they know that there will be question and answer time at the end. If you have a bunch of people come, you're probably not going to get to everybody. You want to make sure that you respect other people's time. My recommendation is 3:30 to 4:15 for your meetings. And when I give a meeting end time, I stick to that meeting end time no matter what. However, there might be people that want to continue talking about a certain topic. There might be people that have questions that they don't feel comfortable asking in front of the whole group. People tend to be shy on these things, and so, they might stay on afterwards. So what I say is something like, we're going to have to move on from this topic. We have 2 other topics we want to address. But if you want to continue talking about whatever topic one was, then stay on. You want to discuss it more, or you have more specific questions that we don't have time for right now, you can stay on the conference after 4:15 and we'll be happy to answer any questions or continue the discussion. So what you'll do at 4:15 in that case is you'll say, all right, everybody, our conference is officially ended. However, anybody who wants to stay on afterwards for specific questions or to continue the conversation, we will stay on as well. But we just want to respect everyone's time and make sure that we are officially done now at 4:15. People will hang up, and then the people who want to stay on will stay on. So here's some topic ideas that you can have. And I pulled these from the survey that Annette sent out to facilitators at the end of last year. These were things that they talked about, sharing success stories, obstacle solutions, Circle of Friends meeting ideas, how to have Circle of Friends more visibility at school, how to promote the program and be more visible among staff, other classes, administration, and so on. Perhaps a school board, people outside the community, how to get the newspaper to come and write a story on Circle of Friends. You could do a meeting on, I think this would be kind of fun because most schools now have social media that they want to share. I know my school does. They want us to share what we're doing both in and out of the classroom with our students. And so you could do a meeting on, promoting your group using the school's social media site and so on. So there's that would be a creative idea that you could do for one of your chats. Social skill instruction ideas are something that pops up on those surveys more than you can imagine. And then just issues that emerge, from the surveys that you get. Be prepared to share your own personal experiences. So, for example, maybe you'll have one topic or maybe 2 or 3. People tend to not jump in and talk on these things. It's just the way it is. So you and your co-facilitator, the other coach in your group, if you have more than one of you, you want to be able to be prepared for people not talking, at least right away. And so you can pose a question, and then if you give time for that silence, if no one says anything, then you are prepared to jump in with your experiences. Well, this happened to me, and this is what we did. Or, this was a problem we had, this is how we solved it. Or, this is how we use our social media account, or whatever it is. Be prepared for people not to talk. And the two of you, if there are two coaches, you can just go on and keep things going. You want to end the meeting with future assistance. Let them know we are here to help you, and make sure that they know where to find the resources. So one of the things that I want you to know about, and you can share with them, is the ASD Network site. So if you go to their site, I just always type in ASD Network and it pops up, and then I bookmarked it. If you go to Education and Training and Circle of Friends, you'll want to point out to them the on-site support referral form, where it is. The ASD Network site is an amazing resource because there's so much there. That's the plus side. The downside is there's so much there, it can be hard to find things. So after your chat, you might want to send out just a link to this form and tell them to save it or bookmark it, so that they know that when something comes up that they need help with, it's there. That's one thing. The other thing that I would recommend that you share with them is our virtual learning community website. I share that in the emails that I send out, and so it's always interesting to me when people ask questions that are on the FAC link. Let me go there. So this is our virtual learning community, and you all get email updates and whenever someone sends me something new to put on it. But just maybe at a meeting, just briefly, quickly point out that this is here, go through the link so that they can see about Circle of Friends. There's just so much here. There's video links, there's materials, and so on. The training webinar that we are now doing instead of the person-to-person is on here. So if they want to review, want some new ideas, everything is there. There's frequently asked questions. In the ideas and resource link, make sure that they know that there are drop-down links here with awareness, bully prevention, social skills, teaching idea, and so on. I updated the SEL literature lessons. I will continue to add to them. For whatever reason, the Google Sites wasn't reading them, and so I couldn't open them. So I fixed those, and I'll continue to add more to them. But anyway, make sure that they know about this site, and that in the contact information, make sure that they have your contact information. All the coaches should be here. If your emails change, please let me know, and I will update that. Ellen's on her own there in the Northeast. If you know of any other person, Ellen or anybody else that could join her and help her as a coach, there are resources available, stipends for someone else. The Metro has several. Central's got a couple. We are in desperate need of people in Western Nebraska. If you have anybody there that you know is interested in being a coach, please let us know. I'm happy to reach out to them if you get me their contact information. So just make sure that at the end of the call or sometime through it that they know who you are, how to get help throughout the year when they need it. I had a really sad story. This gal called me, I don't know what month it was like April, and she had a problem where the group was great, the first 3 months of school, but there was one of the peer mentors turned out to be a bully-ish kind of kid. I think this was maybe a 5th grade, not sure, class. I think it was younger students. And the focus student, because he had poor social skills, was making the bully angry. And so the bully basically went and told all the other peers that they shouldn't, if they're part of that circle of friends, then there's going to be trouble. And I'm putting this whole long story in a nutshell, but as a result, the peers stopped coming to the group in January. And this facilitator never reached out to her coach. To me, that's a very easy problem that could have been solved easily if she had just had someone to give her some ideas. And unfortunately, I didn't find out about it until, I don't know, it was end of April, something like that. It was late. And by then, the group was just dysfunctional. So just make sure that they know that how to get a hold of you, mention it in your chat, send up a follow-up email, maybe periodically say, hey, you might not remember, but here's this form. Has anything cropped up in your circle of friends meetings that you might want to talk about? So here's some questions that you folks gave me in the emails last spring. Should we have one coach lead each topic? That's a great idea. If there's more than one of you, split it up. Many hands make light work. That would be great. And then you could each plan your thing and make sure, you help each other in the talking if no one else talks on your webinars. Should there be time limits on topics to keep flow? I would definitely recommend that because you're going to end at 4:15 no matter what. So make sure ahead of time in your agenda, I would even put, you don't have to, but you could put in your agenda how much time you're going to allot to each different topic. And once again, if the conversation is robust, you can say, you know what, we have to get on to something else, but we'll stay on at 4:15 if anybody else would like to continue this. How much time do you give for questions, awkward silence? Don't let there be awkward silence. You have to give people a minute. It can take people a minute to jump in, but if no one's talking, no one's talking. Go on. If your chat ends before 4:15, it ends before 4:15. That's okay. Just keep moving on. How to get more participation? Chats for different age levels. So someone thought maybe it would be better to do a separate chat, one for elementary level and one for middle high. That's a great idea. You have the freedom to do what you would like based on the needs that you perceive and the things that you get back from the surveys that you send out to people. So I think that's a fine idea if that's what you want to do and that works for you. Can coaches select the topic they want? Yes. In February, Annette has asked that I do something on fundraising or how to run a Circle of Friends group with no money or little money or whatever. And so that will be the topic, because if the grant money goes away for good, we want to make sure that people don't stop doing these groups and that they know that they can do Circle of Friends without money. So that will be the February topic. You can pick what you want for the October topic or topics. The best way to follow up after chat, I recommend that you send out an email and make sure that you put the recorded link to the Zoom conference in it for people who weren't able to come and for people who might want to look at it again. One other concern that came up was there wasn't enough time to share. I think that will be taken care of if you just stay on after 4:15. All were experienced facilitators except one, how to meet everyone's needs. I would recommend you differentiate instruction just like we do in the classroom. We have all different levels of learners in our classrooms all the time, and so we find ways to provide for all of them. The tough thing is that you're not going to know ahead of time who's going to show up. Are they all going to be experienced? Are they mostly going to be new or whatever? And so you're going to have to be pretty quick on your feet. So you might want to have kind of a backup plan when you're doing your planning and where you're going to go with these questions and the types of things that you're going to bring up and the types of stories and ideas you'll share based on the people who show up, whether they're experienced facilitators or new facilitators. Someone threw out the idea of office hours. If you want to have office hours because it would give people more time to get a hold of you, that's fine too. I mean, you have the freedom in your region to do what you want to do. You guys are, you have a lot of experience and expertise and a lot of great ideas. My advice is just to go for it. And then lastly, the facilitator feedback from last year, obstacles. These were the obstacles, and believe me, they shared a lot of success stories and very positive, uplifting things that made me feel really good to read them. But these are some ideas for topics that you might want to think about, because these are things that some people brought up. One thing someone said is they weren't sure if meeting every other week with a focus student and every other week with peers is ideal. I don't really recommend that they do that anymore. If someone is doing that all year long, then we need to teach them, train them. I mentioned at the training not to do that, but if that's what they're doing, that's something that you could, briefly correct in your connection chat. It was interesting. I just went through the spreadsheet with all the contact information for all the facilitators that are participating in this school year. And nearly every school has more than one. Sometimes they have 3 facilitators in their school. And so for me, it's really easy to break apart the groups. If you need to do a peer-only meeting, go ahead and have one facilitator take one group and do that. And then the other facilitator can do some intensive social skills instruction or games or whatever with a group with focus students. You can do that. But I tell people, really do the peer-only meeting. Sometimes with a brand new group, you'll do it more frequently in the beginning, but when you don't need them anymore, you don't need them anymore. Or you can just call them whenever it pops up. We had to do a pop-up peer-only meeting last year because what we found was that when we were doing games and having those social activities, our peers were on their phones a lot. So we had to have a meeting and talk about, and they were kind of hanging with themselves and not interacting well enough with the focus students. So we had a meeting just to outline our expectations and teach the procedures again for being a peer mentor. It's no different than what we would do in the classroom. So anyway, you might want to correct that or talk about that. Difficulty getting the focus students to participate. They come to the meetings and outside activities, but they don't participate very well. That would be a great time for me, and we do this in my group because I'm one of 2 facilitators in my high school. Jen may take a group of people, a group of kids, and play a game with them, while I will take a focus student and a few other students just to practice, say, conversation or role play or do some video modeling or something. So I would, talk about pre-teaching the focus student, let them know ahead of time what the activity is going to be for that week, and then helping them be successful and learn how to participate. It takes practice and it takes instruction. Just because we're putting these kids together doesn't mean that all of a sudden the student on the autism spectrum is going to have the social skills to effectively engage. So that could be a whole connection chat topic right there. And then ideas to keep students keep coming to all the meetings and all that kind of thing. So you can bring all that up too, and that can be another topic of a connection chat. So that's all I have. Oh, no, sorry, that isn't. Here's a little bit more. Sorry, one more slide. This is it. Ideas for implementing a conversation framework. You might want to model that or teach a conversation model on one of your connection chats. That came up a couple times. Obtaining peer buy-in, how to deal with behavior issues when they occur during Circle of Friends. That might be a good topic because that does happen. Addressing individual student social skill needs. Once again, I would direct them back to the virtual learning community and that drop-down link for social skill instruction, because there's all kinds of materials there to use, not only with groups, but with individual students. Using my own time and money to run the group. Well, nobody should be using their own money to run a group, and we'll deal with that in February. That'll be a topic. Operating Circle of Friends on a limited budget, same thing. How to get the focus student to make friends outside the group. We did an activity one time where we gave a challenge, a contest to everyone, and their name went into drawings if they participated, where we had everybody plan an outside of Circle of Friends activity, some kind of social thing, get together, and but we had to pre-teach it. They didn't know how to ask somebody, how to do a text follow-up, how to communicate with their parents, and hey, I want to ask somebody to go to the movies. I want to ask Joe to go to the movies next week. Maybe the parent needs to call the other parent. There's a lot of communication skills and teaching around that needs to happen. So that might be another topic that you could bring up. And then once again, activity ideas. So that's what I have. I promise there's no more slides. That's it. I just want to thank you all for the leadership that you're showing in the Circle of Friends initiative across our state and for all the good work that you do. I'm always available. Annette and Megan are always available. Feel free to contact us anytime. And I hope your years are off to a great start, and we'll be in touch. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.